The entire restaurant went silent when the rich man pointed at the trembling waitress and said, "Kneel. Apologize in front of everyone." Some guests laughed. Others pulled out their phones. She slowly bent her knees, humiliation burning in her chest. And then the glass doors opened. A tall man in a military uniform stepped inside. The rich man's face drained of color. His confident smile vanished. Because the man who had just walked in was someone he feared more than losing his fortune, and he was there for her. The Grand Monarch Hotel was the kind of place where powerful men felt untouchable. Crystal chandeliers hung from ceilings painted with gold trim. The waitstaff moved like shadows, silent and efficient, trained to endure anything with a polite smile. Among them was Sarah. 24 years old, working 2 jobs, supporting her younger sister's college fees and her father's medical treatment. She had dignity stitched into her posture, even when exhaustion weighed on her shoulders. That night, the VIP section hosted Victor Hale, a wealthy real estate tycoon known not only for his fortune but for his arrogance. He believed money bought obedience. It usually did. Sarah approached his table with a tray of sparkling water and expensive wine. One of his business partners made a joke. Victor laughed loudly, waving his hand carelessly. His elbow struck the tray. The glasses shattered against the marble floor. For a split second, silence. Then Victor's expression darkened. "Are you blind?" he snapped. "I'm so sorry, sir," Sarah said softly. "I'll clean it immediately." But Victor wasn't finished. He stood up, towering over her. "You embarrassed me in front of my partners." "It was an accident," she whispered. He leaned closer. "Then kneel and apologize properly. Maybe you'll learn your place." Gasps rippled through nearby tables. Some people looked away. Others smirked. The manager froze, knowing Victor was responsible for funding half the hotel's renovations. Sarah's cheeks burned. Her hands trembled. Every instinct told her to walk away, but she thought of her father in the hospital bed and her sister studying under a flickering lamp. She needed this job. Slowly, painfully, she lowered herself to her knees. The humiliation was heavier than the marble beneath her. Victor smirked. Louder. "I'm sorry for the inconvenience, sir," she said, forcing the words out. Laughter broke from one of the men at the table. And then the doors opened. A tall man stepped inside wearing a decorated military uniform. His posture was sharp, commanding. Conversations faded as heads turned. It was Colonel Daniel Reyes, recently appointed head of the city's internal security division. Known for integrity. Known for discipline. Known for not tolerating corruption. His eyes scanned the room, and stopped. On his daughter. On Sarah. Kneeling. The tray shattered on the floor. Victor followed his gaze, confusion turning into recognition. His face went pale. "Colonel Reyes," someone whispered. Daniel walked forward slowly, each step echoing. "Sarah," he said gently, "stand up." She looked up, stunned. "Dad?" The room froze. Victor stepped back, his confidence draining. You didn't tell anyone you were his daughter." Sarah's voice trembled, but she stood tall now. "I never thought I needed to." Daniel turned to Victor, his expression controlled but deadly calm. "Explain." Victor tried to laugh it off. "It was just harmless discipline. Staff must respect guests." "By kneeling?" Daniel's voice hardened. No one dared to move. Chapter 2. Victor's empire was built on influence. He donated to campaigns. He financed projects. He thought himself invincible. But he also knew something else. Daniel Reyes had just opened a citywide investigation into illegal property acquisitions, some of which traced dangerously close to Victor's companies. And now, the man he might soon answer to had witnessed him humiliating his daughter. It was a misunderstanding, Victor stammered. Sarah stepped forward. No, Dad. It wasn't. Her voice was steady now, not because she wasn't hurt, but because she was tired of staying silent. He wanted to make an example of me. Daniel looked at his daughter, guilt flickering in his eyes. Why didn't you tell me you were working here? Because I didn't want special treatment, she said. You taught me to earn everything. The weight of that truth filled the room. Victor attempted a weak smile. Colonel, surely we can discuss this privately. Daniel's gaze never left him. There is nothing private about public humiliation. The manager rushed over, apologizing repeatedly to Sarah. But something had shifted. This wasn't about revenge. It was about respect. Daniel extended his hand to his daughter, not as a savior, but as support. Are you okay? She nodded slowly. I am now. Victor wiped sweat from his forehead. I'm willing to compensate for any discomfort. Sarah looked directly at him. Money doesn't fix dignity. The guests who had laughed earlier now stared at their plates. Daniel finally spoke, his voice carrying authority that didn't need volume. Power is not proven by how many people kneel before you. It's proven by how many stand because of you. Victor had no response. Within weeks, investigations into Victor's companies intensified. Not because of personal revenge, but because rules applied to everyone. His arrogance began costing him contracts. His reputation cracked. Sarah, meanwhile, kept her job, by choice. The hotel implemented new policies protecting staff from harassment. Training sessions were introduced. Cameras were installed in VIP areas. Something good grew from something humiliating. One evening, as father and daughter shared tea in their small kitchen, Daniel said quietly, I wanted to protect you from the world. Sarah smiled faintly. You did. By teaching me to stand up in it. The story of that night spread, not because a rich man lost face, but because a young woman regained her dignity. And people remembered the moment the powerful man turned white. Not because he feared losing money. But because he realized money couldn't save him from consequences. So before you use power to belittle someone, remember this. The person you humiliate today might be connected to a truth you can't control tomorrow. And real strength? It's not in forcing someone to kneel. It's in having the character to never ask them to.